What's up everyone, thanks for checking out this video. I'm just going to break down what I was playing there on the guitar, as well as jumping into the project file and showing you what I did on that side of things as well. After recording some of the loops, I did a little bit of post-processing just to polish it off ready for this video. So I'll break them both down now. Also, this is the last week to enter the competition to earn $20 worth of Submit Hub credits and $20 worth of credits to my store for sample packs and merch. All you have to do to enter is like and comment on this video, and all of the likes and comments from the last 4 videos will be entered into a prize draw announced next week. But anyway, here is the guitar tutorial first, followed by the beat breakdown. So the guitar part was actually quite simple. There were 2 layers of guitar playing effectively the same thing slightly differently, just to give it a bit of texture. The key was in D minor, and just playing simple 1-3-5 chord voicings. So just standard major and minor chords, just playing the 3 notes that build them up. So it starts off with a G minor. So I'm playing the 3rd fret on the E string, 5th fret on the A string, muting the D string, and then 3rd fret on the G string. And for this first progression, I'm just palm muting. So I've got my palm resting on the strings. So it gives it this muffled sort of tone. So I'm playing the E, A, G, and then playing the A and the G. So sort of repeatedly for that bit. So it's one thing to note as well is obviously I'm playing with my fingers, which gives an extra softness as well. And then from there I slide up to an A sharp major chord. So I'm playing the root note, the A sharp, so that's 6th fret on the E string, then 8th fret on the A string, muting the D string, and this time playing 7th fret on the G string. And then the same picking progression again, so. And then that same shape slides down to the F major chord. So again, 1st fret on the E string, 3rd fret on the A string, muting the D, 2nd fret on the G string. And then finally onto a C major chord, so sliding the same shape again to the 8th fret. So 8th fret on the E string, 10th fret on the A string, muting the D, 9th fret on the G. So first pass round, I'll just play this C major as the final chord. The second pass round, I'll go from G minor, A sharp major, and then F major, and I'll just stick with the F major. And then that starts looping, and then all I do is layer in the same chords again, but with the root on the A string this time. So the first chord again being the G minor, so 10th fret on the A string playing the G, 12th fret on the D string, muting the G, 11th fret on B string. Moving up to the A sharp major, which is this shape, 3 frets, and then move the B string up 1 fret, giving you 13th fret on the A string, 15th fret on the D string, muting the G, and then 15th on the B. And then we slide down, same shape, slid down to the F major this time, 8th fret on the A string, 10th fret on the D string, muting the G, 10th fret on the B string. And then for the C major, instead of playing up here, I slide down to the 3rd fret. So it's sort of an octave lower than the others in relation to the root chords that I played in the first loop. So the C major being just 3rd fret on the A string, then 5th fret on the D string, muting the G, 5th fret on the B. On this loop I'm more or less playing the same picking progression, this time not muted, just so it's a little bit brighter, and looping through them relevant to each chord. And then with the solo in, I'm just focusing around the D minor pentatonic or the F major pentatonic scale. But yeah, that's the guitar part, so I'm just going to break down the beat part as well. Cool, so this is the beat. I'm just going to break down quickly what's going on in it. So firstly, I've got this sort of market atmosphere on there, which is just a blend of a market recording and some vinyl noise, which has been filtered to cut out any of the muddy low end, just give it like a smooth sort of fizzle. So that's that. And then on top of that, I recorded 2 layers of guitar. And the way I do that, which I've talked about in previous videos, is I record with the looper, but I'm also sending the recording to another track as well. That just means that I can get a recording of the loop as it sort of evolves, and I can also get a recording of each individual element of the loop. So then when it comes to actually mixing it, I've got the first loop here consistently, and then I've got the second loop separately as well. And again, as I mentioned previously, the way I record is I've got a Laney L5 Studio, which is the amp, and then I run it through cab emulation in Amplitude 4 with some bits like saturation, some filters and that sort of thing. And then I've got a convolution reverb on pretty much everything in this, varying it in how dry it is, as well as fresh air just to brighten up the second loop. I've not got that on the first loop. And I've got soothe on there as well for the guitars, just to cut out any of the resonance. And then again, just the solo lines separately as well. Next, I recorded the bass, which was just DI. I've recorded it using this Archetype Cory Wong preset, just P-Bass. I recently picked this up. I've not experimented with guitar bits much yet, but the bass sounds were great as well. That was just DI, not going into any amp. And then a glue compressor, which is sidechaining it to the kick. So that's just a simple bass. There's not much going on there. And then next, I actually recorded this, which is a simple drum loop, which I recorded on drum pads. But in post-production, I actually split that up into the different stems, which is how I usually process drums. So I've split it up into a different kick, different hi-hat, and then in post I've added some layers as well just to texture it up. So that's the snare, and then I add in this extra Foley layer as well. So the kick is usually something low and thumpy, which I layer on top, something a bit more percussive with the low end cut, just so it cuts through the mix a bit. And then for the hi-hat, it's just a simple loop, bit of saturation on there and a high cut. Added a little brush texture. Not much going on there. So then for the mids, what I've done is just textured a few different percussive sounds. So they're just laid on top of each other, 2 different sounds in 2 different patterns. And then for this, what I've done is the main sound that plays throughout is this perk. So I've added a little LFO and I've automated that to the cutoff, so it just changes how muted it is as it goes through the track. It's on a 1/3 ratio, so it's not like a perfect movement, so it just gives it a little bit more variance with a little bit of reverb and an overall auto filter for all the sounds. And then I've just added a little bit of texture with this loop as well, which has got an auto pan, so it's moving left to right as it goes through the track, just giving it a bit more space. So that's the drums, and then the next thing I did was layer this piano in there. It's the Imagiro piano. I think I've talked about it before. He's a producer in the Lofi community. It's quite a cheap $20 plugin, but it sounds really nice, and it's not got the sort of adjustability of like a contact instrument, but it doesn't really need it. It's just a soft piano that layers really nicely in. So I just recorded that, a little bit of reverb, and that sits in nicely. And then finally it was just this contact trumpet, muted trumpet from Session Horns 2 Pro. It's just the muted trumpet standard preset with a little bit of convolution reverb. It's quite loud, so I've dropped the volume a bit, but it sits fairly nicely in the mix. I find it a little bit difficult to work with sometimes because you can't change the release, or at least I couldn't see an obvious way of doing it. But when you blend it in with everything, it sort of seems to work. Yeah, that's it really. just thought I'd dive into that as well, just in case anyone was wondering what was going on behind the mix at the start of the video. I hope it was interesting. There's going to be more detailed beat breakdowns like the one I did a few weeks ago coming up as well. But yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.